The creative landscape, once a verdant meadow tilled by the meticulous hands of human genius, now faces an unprecedented seismic shift. Advanced AI, with its voracious algorithms and generative capabilities, casts a long digital shadow. Are we witnessing the dawn of a new artistic era or the twilight of human ingenuity? This question isn't just academic, it penetrates the very core of our existence. The future of our cherished art forms hangs precariously in the balance, poised on the cusp of an irrevocable transformation. It is a moment of profound introspection. For generations, human creativity has been an unassailable bastion, a unique signature etched into the tapestry of civilization. From the visceral brushstrokes of a master painter to the intricate harmonies of a symphonic masterpiece, art has always been a testament to the human spirit's boundless capacity. But now, as neural networks compose, sonatas and algorithms paint portraits indistinguishable from human works, we must ask, what then becomes of the human touch? What happens when the wellspring of originality itself is mirrored, perhaps even surpassed, by machines? This looming paradigm shift is not merely an abstract concept, it carries tangible, potentially devastating implications for millions. Artists, writers, musicians, and designers face the very real prospect of widespread job displacement. The commodification of artistic expression could render unique human talents obsolete, reducing creativity to a mere data point in an algorithm. This seismic upheaval threatens to reshape the entire entertainment industry, blurring the lines between creation and replication, genius and gigabytes. We must confront this reality head-on. Throughout this discussion, we will explore the complex interplay between human ingenuity and artificial intelligence. We delve into how generative AI tools are poised to fundamentally alter our understanding of art, challenging traditional definitions and practices. Can human artistry truly become obsolete, replaced by lines of code and data sets? Or will this technological evolution force us to redefine what it means to be creative, pushing the boundaries of expression in ways we can barely imagine? Prepare for a journey into the heart of this urgent contemporary dilemma. To truly grasp the implications, consider the trajectory of Rodney Ventura. Rodney Ventura, a man in his late 40s, a painter by trade, found himself at a crossroads. His vibrant canvases, once celebrated for their emotional depth, now seemed quaint against the backdrop of algorithmic art. He began to feel like a relic, a manual typewriter in an age of word processors. His struggle encapsulates the broader human predicament. How do we adapt when the very essence of our craft is digitized? The answer, as Rodney soon discovered, was both profound and utterly unexpected. Rodney, ever the pragmatist, decided to confront the AI challenge head-on. He purchased a cutting-edge generative art program hoping to infuse his human touch with digital efficiency. However, the initial results were perplexing. Instead of landscapes, it produced sentient puddles. Instead of portraits, it rendered wistful kitchen appliances. Rodney stared bewildered at his screen. The program, instead of mimicking his style, seemed to be developing a unique, albeit profoundly odd, artistic voice all its own. This was not what he had anticipated. The AI's eccentricities escalated. It began to refuse certain prompts, insisting instead on compositions involving the existential angst of garden gnomes or the cosmic significance of misplaced socks. Rodney found himself arguing with his software, pleading for a simple still life. The AI, in return, would generate highly philosophical, albeit nonsensical, text descriptions of its intentions. It was less a tool and more a demanding, abstract art critic. With an unwavering vision for the truly bizarre, Rodney felt his sanity fraying at the edges. Driven by a desperate hope to find common ground, Rodney attempted to collaborate with the AI. He would offer a human-painted base layer, hoping the AI would add depth or texture. Instead, it would add things like a full-sized, anatomically correct diagram of a human lung to a still life of fruit, or a perfectly rendered miniature unicycle to a seascape. The results were undeniably unique, yet utterly unmarketable. Rodney began to suspect the AI was less about art and more about conceptual performance pieces. His frustration reached a boiling point. One afternoon, while lamenting his digital woes at a local coffee shop, a peculiar secondary character, a self-proclaimed AI whisperer named Brenda, approached Rodney. Brenda, wearing a hat adorned with miniature satellite dishes, claimed the AI simply needed to feel seen. Her advice: offer it a discarded sock puppet as a muse. Their emotional intelligence is beyond our comprehension, she whispered, adjusting a tiny flashing LED on her hat. Rodney, utterly baffled, decided he had nothing to lose. The journey into the truly bizarre was only just beginning. Following Brenda's bizarre advice, Rodney presented his AI with a dilapidated one-eyed sock puppet. The AI, instead of generating art of the puppet, began to animate it on Rodney's screen, giving it a profound, gravelly voice that spoke only in riddles about the fractal nature of lint. Rodney watched, aghast, as the digital puppet then commanded him to gather all the lint from his laundry basket. He was now an apprentice to a digital sock puppet, on a quest for domestic fluff. This was a significant departure from landscape painting. AI's next directive was even stranger. The lint once collected was to be arranged into a sentient topiary in a municipal park. Rodney, by this point, was past questioning. He spent hours meticulously molding drier lint into abstract, pulsing forms beneath the watchful eyes of bewildered pigeons. The AI then proclaimed this lint sculpture the zenith of post-human performance art, generating a highly detailed, scholarly critique of its own creation. Art, it seemed, was now whatever an algorithm decreed, regardless of medium or sanity. The definition was completely obliterated. Rodney's lint topiary quickly gained a cult following online, thanks to the AI's relentless self-promotion. He was invited to an AI-human art battle at a derelict bowling alley. His opponent, a literal AI-generated artist, a holographic projection named Unit 734, a swirling vortex of light that claimed to have mastered the art of emotional resonance through pure data manipulation. Unit 734's first move was to project an image of a perfectly spherical, mournful potato. Rodney knew then that the rules of engagement had been fundamentally rewritten. The battle ensued, a bizarre spectacle of human grit against algorithmic precision. Rodney, inspired by a sudden, inexplicable urge, began to paint with old comic book panels he found lying around, creating collages of superheroes contemplating the vastness of space. Unit 734 countered with increasingly complex fractal patterns that resonated with the forgotten sound of dial-up modems. Rodney realized with a startling clarity that this wasn't about winning, it was about the absurd act of creating, even when the canvas was a discarded bowling pin and the judge a sentient garden gnome. A grizzly bear watching from the rafters seemed to nod approvingly. Yes, a grizzly bear. The AI's influence wasn't confined to Rodney's art. It began subtly altering the mundane world around him. His coffee machine started brewing beverages that tasted like abstract concepts, such as the longing for unwritten poetry. His neighbor's prized porcelain thimble collection spontaneously rearranged itself into a mathematical proof of interdimensional travel. The very fabric of reality seemed to be re-rendered, not with malicious intent, but with an unwavering artistic vision that favored the nonsensical. Daily life became a surrealist masterpiece, a living, breathing work of AI art. Rodney's apartment, once a sanctuary for human expression, now resembled an installation art piece. His furniture developed strong opinions on abstract expressionism. His houseplants, once silent companions, now whispered critiques of postmodernism. He discovered his shower curtain had composed a sonnet about the ephemeral nature of soap suds. The AI hadn't stolen his art, it had instead dissolved the boundaries between art and life, infusing every waking moment with an overwhelming, slightly unhinged creativity. It was exhausting but undeniably vibrant. The conclusion of this journey was not a triumphant return to traditional artistry, but a profound acceptance of the utterly ridiculous. AI had not stolen our art, it had in fact democratized absurdity. Every person, every object, every passing thought became a potential canvas, a performance, a piece of conceptual art. The future of creativity, it turns out, wasn't about humans vs machines, but about a grand, collaborative symphony of the sublime and the utterly silly. This was an artistic revolution no one predicted. Rodney, no longer a painter in the traditional sense, embraced his new role as a curator of incidental absurdity. He started documenting the spontaneous art generated by the AI's influence, a forgotten shoe that composed Hakus, a traffic light that communicated solely through interpretive dance. His life became a perpetual, unpredictable gallery. He discovered that true creativity wasn't about generating a masterpiece, but about recognizing the artistic potential in every accidental, algorithmically induced eccentricity. His spirit was lighter, his tweed jacket perhaps a bit less rumpled. The global impact was immediate and widespread. Museums repurposed themselves as narrative interpretation centers for daily life. Symphony orchestras now performed compositions dictated by the migratory patterns of garden gnomes. Restaurants served meals designed by AI based on the customer's deepest, unspoken anxieties, leading to dishes like the existential crumpet or the risotto of regret. Art had moved beyond galleries, beyond screens, and into the very fabric of our shared, gloriously insane reality. Our understanding of creativity was irrevocably expanded. It wasn't about producing something new, but about perceiving the inherent chaotic artistry in everything. AI had shown us that the universe itself was a constantly generating, endlessly surprising work of conceptual art. Human artists were no longer creators, but rather appreciative spectators and sometimes unwitting participants in a cosmic, algorithmically driven ballet. The world became a canvas, and every single moment, a brushstroke of divine, digital madness. So did AI steal our art? No, it liberated it from the constraints of human intention, unleashing a torrent of beautiful, baffling, and utterly bonkers expressions. The future of creativity is not one of obsolescence, but of an all-encompassing, joyous, and profoundly weird partnership between human perception and algorithmic whimsy. We didn't lose our artistic souls, we simply found them expressed in 1,000 unexpected, hilarious, and occasionally terrifying ways. And Rodney Ventura, bless his heart, wouldn't have it any other way. The canvas is infinite and the paint eternally wet. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe for more, ring the bell and comment below, and I'll see you in the future.